Israel, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakal Kadash. This is my first lesson I'm going to do for you, Israel, so bear with me. I got to get quick on my sword, I know that. But the Spirit was on me to do a lesson about John 3:16 and who Yahweh Shai is actually sent for. Now, a Christian was telling me earlier this week that God saves everybody, the God's for everybody, not just for Israel. And I like to break that down. We're using the scriptures. But before I start, before I read John 3:16, let me read Isaiah 28:10 to show you how to actually read the scriptures. There's an algorithm in the book that tells you how to read the book. Everything you need to know is in the book. You just gotta crack it open and read it. You can't be listening to these pastors because they're misleading the flock. It's Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 10. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. That's how you got to read the book. You can't just read it all in context like that. I mean, you could, but to get a full understanding, you got to take precept upon precept, here a little and there a little. So now let's read the Christian's favorite verse in the book, John 3:16. Salakia, man, they got me aggravated this week. So going back and forth with them. This is John chapter 3, verse 16. For Yahweh so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Now, as he does say, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish. But who is the world? And what is the world? Before we break that down, let's go to Psalms chapter 90 and verse 2. This is Psalms chapter 90 and verse 2. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou hadst formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. So we see here in Psalm 90 and 2 that the earth and the world are two different things. So we know the world is something else. But what is the world? And who is the world? Let's go to Isaiah 45:17. Clear that up. This is precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. This is Isaiah chapter 45, verse 17. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. Now it says here that the world without end is everlasting, is Israel. They shall be saved with the everlasting salvation. Can't dispute that. But then no Christian will tell you, oh, that's Old Testament. Things change in the New Testament. Well, let's see if that's true. Let's bring out 1 Peter 2 and 21. Let me see really quick, Salakia. 1 Peter 2 and 21. For even hereunto were ye called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example, that ye should follow his steps. Verse 22, who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth. Now we see that possessive pronoun, us, that he suffered for us. Who is the us? It doesn't say everybody, it says us. Let's go to Matthew and find that out. Let's go to Matthew chapter 1 and verse 21. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus. Ignorantly called Christ, Jesus, but Yahweh Shai. For he shall save his people from their sins. Again, possessive pronouns. Save his people from their sins. Talking about somebody specifically. But who? Let's get it out of his own mouth. Red letter. We're just going to jump to chapter 15. And we'll start at 22. This is Matthew 15 and 22. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast, and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with the devil. But he answered her not a word. He didn't say anything to this lady. He kept it moving. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, Send her away, for she crieth after us. So here's this Canaanite woman coming asking for a blessing from the Lord. He doesn't even respond to her. Even the disciples are like, yo, tell her to leave. Get to stepping. And this is verse 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's red letter. I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. It's not here for everybody. That his people, their sins, house of Israel. There's a connection. Line upon line, here a little and there a little. Then she came and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, It is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it to dogs. Meat means good there. So it's not a good thing to take the children's food and give it to the dog. Like if your kids were hungry, you wouldn't take food off their plate and give it to the dog. You'll feed the kids first. But he's for everybody. Show me. Let's go to John chapter 4 to get some more clarification. Slovakia is real. What else was I looking for? Yeah, another red letter. John 4 and verse 22. Ye worship, ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. That's who salvation is for. The Jews. That's out of his own mouth, man. How can he dispute that? But they'll still try to dispute it. But they won't even get this far. They'll just ignore it. All you need is faith. But faith without works is dead. They don't know what they're talking about. Let's go to Revelations 21 and verse 11. This is Revelations chapter 21 and verse 11. Having the glory of God, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal. And this is describing heaven coming out of the sky, the holy city, holy Jerusalem. Verse 12. And had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So heaven has 12 gates, 12 doors, guarded by 12 angels. And on those 12 doors are the names of the tribes of Israel. How can everybody get in if there's only 12 doors? There's not a door for Edomites. There's not a door for Moabites. It's for the children of Israel. Hey, Moabites, you don't want to get in the kingdom? You got to go through the service entrance, man. All right, let me wrap this up with 1 Thessalonians 5 and 21. Man, Salakia. I gotta get nice with this sword. It's gonna come though. It's gonna come. I just need more practice. That's it. This is 1 Thessalonians 5 and 21. Prove all things. Hold fast that which is good. So if you hear all these precepts and all these scriptures, all throughout the scriptures, that Yahushua wasn't sent for everybody, prove it using the scriptures. Prove all things. That's it. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for listening. Shalom, Israel. See you next week.